This is Deborah Atkinson, and you're listening to the Voice for Fitness Professionals podcast, where I address the marketing and the sales tips for trainers and business owners who want to attract, keep, and help more clients easily without the sleaze. So, today I just want to bring a brief update to you about the status, really, the state of the fitness industry, if you will. I just returned yesterday from Athletic Business Conference 2017 in Orlando, Florida. And I want to let you know what a difference it's been since I first began presenting. And quite honestly, I cannot remember the exact year that it was. And I believe it was about the year 2000. Marketing is a challenge, but back in the year 2000, when I first began presenting on business, marketing for fitness, there were a lot of empty seats in the room. Let's just say that. So the first conference I presented at was the IDEA Personal Trainer Congress. It's now called the Personal Training Institute, and the difference was about 25 people. So you've got to take into account, I mean, we're not talking about presenting to the collective group of the hundreds of people who attended a conference, right? We're talking about breakout sessions where there might be 15 options at any given hour. Plus there's the pool, right? I think we were in Vegas, I'm not sure. Could have been Chicago, but it's nice out. You've always got something else as your competition. It's not just your competition, it's anything that calls on time and attention. So in a noisy world, the question is always going to be, how are you going to stand out? And that's never more true than right now. But the exciting thing at this last conference was the room was full. So I did 2 presentations, and then we actually had a power lunch. I was not presenting. I was just like a room host, basically, facilitating the conversation and helping people kind of get together and get their story out and move the conversation along. But in the morning, I presented on social media shortcuts and strategies to get better results. And in the afternoon, I presented on email. And really, quite often what happens was evident in the way I presented. So those 2 things, quite often we have somebody in charge of each of those. We have somebody that we're handing off the social media to, either because we don't like it, we hate it, it's a black hole, and or a time suck, pardon my French. But we also don't necessarily know what we don't know, and we don't want to take the time to dive into it. Thinking we don't have time is a huge mistake, because social media is not going away. In fact, it's growing and it's getting noisier. So if you are behind, you don't know it, it's really time to get in and choose one small area to gain some expertise in, gain a little bit more knowledge in. And most likely for many of us, that's going to be either YouTube if you're not using it yet, or it's going to be Facebook. And you can probably do both with very little additional effort. Just the logistics of getting in there, getting them set up, and then video is king, video is queen, and video is the prince. So video, 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 if you haven't got that message. The question again, though, comes back to, it's a noisy world, noisier. How are you going to stand out? These last 2 weeks, as I'm recording this, at least, have been so clearly ringing true in that mode. And what I mean by that is, it's November 12th today. In the last 2 weeks, as soon as Halloween is over, and maybe even before that, there are more ads already out for the holidays, for fitness programs, for selling fitness equipment, for diets. And they're on the television, they're in your feeds, in your social media sites. And so if you're not out there yet, laying that foundation, that first of all is a problem, but how do you rise above the rest of the noise? That's a question for all of us. There were, in this evolution of fitness marketing. So marketing is really more important. So I hope we can all agree on that. If you're somebody who doesn't like sales, not a problem necessarily, because actually 70% of the work should be done by your marketing department. If marketing is good, the copy is good, the images are perfect, and they speak to your demographic, then the sale is practically done before the person ever comes in, ever picks up the phone to contact you. And that is what you want to keep in mind. So it's really important that you get this down. I've talked with IDEA and with National Strength and Conditioning Association, with the International Council on Active Aging, all on marketing and sales and how we get a better message out. But I want to give you this example. This year, the fitness people who really get it, get it. You know, way back in 2000, there was, probably a difference of 25 people in the room, right? And that meant 25 more people in the room this year, Friday morning, than would have been, back in 2000. And that means, the room was fairly full. People sitting around tables from all walks, whether it's Parks and Rec, campus recreation programs, serving students, faculty, alumni, whether it was private trainers looking for ways to reach their people, or gym owners looking for ways to reach their people. They get it. And here's the exciting thing. When we get it, we really get it. My morning session was full. And then even on a Friday late afternoon, the session was smaller, but many of those people who came in the morning repeated my session in the afternoon. So different content, but related to email. And here's why that's so important and a true head start for them, because they see the connection. Your social media is not where things start. Social media is the legs, the wheels to deliver the content that you have and to bring people to your website and your email list. And if you're not seeing it or treating it like that, you're wasting a lot of time. And if you're boosting posts that are just posts and they go nowhere, you're missing the boat and you're spending a lot of money in an unwise way. And as the social media arena grows, there are more and more people out there doing the same thing, and there are more and more people paying for paid advertising. That will be even more true. Your money spent on boosts that doesn't have an objective and a strategic plan behind it will be wasted dollars, simply gone. So those people who you're trying to increase in your fans, if they're not engaging with you, they're not even seeing what you're doing. The algorithm, that word, that black hole of a word on Facebook, changed yet again just last week, right before I presented. And what it said is basically it's going to be harder and harder for anyone who is already your fan on your page to see your content. So it means, what was a really small percent, somewhere between 1 and 3, 1 and 5% on average seeing your content. If people aren't engaging, they're just not seeing it in their timeline. But now even less than that will see it. And what we mean by that is organically. So if you don't pay, you won't play. They won't see it. So you're going to have to pay even to target the people who like your page, because they are not seeing you in their timeline. That's a challenge. So if you need to get a handle on what is really working, what you've got to look at is social media, website traffic, and email are an area we know we want and we need to connect with. We need to connect those dots. There was even a power lunch on Friday. And what that was a loose-ended, here if you want to go and spend lunch with some of your peers and do some networking, this particular lunch is going to be about X, and another lunch option is going to be about Y. And this was about social media and strategizing and what's working for you, what's your biggest challenge right now, how do you handle complainers, and what are you doing based on your arena. So it was very interesting for those people who sat there who were in, say, a nonprofit working for the Salvation Army, those who were on a campus, also, an educational, governmental kind of institution, and then those in private business, and solo personal trainers relocating who wanted to find, how do I use social media to get reestablished and reconnected in my new community? And everyone walked away with some new ideas, some new ways of thinking about what it was they're doing. So I highly recommend that you connect with people who are doing it and not just watching other people in your community, for instance, or other people who are in your niche and how well they're doing it, but really getting an understanding of what must be happening here, connecting the dots, thinking, where is that going? How was that connected to a post I might have seen earlier, or a blog, or something else that takes me back to their website, brings me to their email? So be sure, number one, that you are listening to messages that are already out there on your social media. That's one way to really get a handle on what's happening. Here's how you listen. In Facebook, that's in part going into your insights, looking at your last week of posts, then maybe your last month of posts. Which ones were the most popular? And not just looking at those individual posts as, oh, that was really popular, but looking at what was the topic that was popular? What time and day did you post it? To find out if there's a connection there with most popular posts and time of day. Look at, what was the image, or was it a video? Was it your content, or was it shared, OP, other people's content? Documenting all of those and having maybe a spreadsheet with a line that you can check off, you can start to look for patterns of what is working for you now. Even though you feel like, I don't have any traction, nothing is working, something is, even on a very small scale. Start doing more of that. And stop doing the things that are getting 0 likes, 0 comments. And when I say that, what's really important is when I'm monitoring some of the people, some of the businesses, pages that I'm consulting with or want to, so I'm doing a good overview so I get a handle on them, I am looking at, when they have 2 to 4 likes consistently, I'm looking at who is it. And when it is their staff and that's it, or it's 1 or 2 same names, which I'm guessing are already clients or customers, then we're not penetrating. We're not getting anywhere. So it's really important that, those 2 likes, you don't want to ignore those customers, certainly, but it's not helping you. You're not reaching people who are not yet your customer. You're not having a big impact and a big movement. And that's really what you're after, is creating a sense of community, a movement in terms of how you think about fitness and how you get other people to think about fitness and or getting started. And this is a great time of year to do it because everybody's busy and everybody's having the problem of, how do I get some traction in my fitness without gaining weight? And, don't come to a screeching halt at the end of the year hating what I just did these last 6 weeks. So now is the perfect time to start listening. And you can listen by just watching what's happening already, but you can listen really by asking. Start asking some questions, posing some questions on your social media sites, always with images and or with video, and go in and just start. So use that Excel spreadsheet, or if you're not Excel talented, fine. Create a basic yellow legal pad full of notes that tracks those things. Were those popular posts a picture, a video? What day and what time of day were they posted? What was the topic? And, what were the results? Literally, how many likes, how many comments, how many shares at the moment in time when you're taking that snapshot? And, look a little bit with, okay, this post was here on this date. it's been X amount of days since. So you have a little sense as you're comparing something that was 3 weeks ago versus something that was yesterday. Because people may, not frequently, but people may go back and look at things in your timeline. So that is your intro for today. And if you've got questions, you've got additional comments, please leave it below the show link on fitnessmarketingmastery.com/podcast for the links and the resources or references used in this podcast episode. Check the podcast or read the blog. If you're a trainer who wants to make a difference and reach more people, join our community at fitnessmarketingmastery.com right on the homepage, where I share the juiciest tips and the trends only with my subscribers. Until next time, on the Voice for Fitness Professionals,